I'm Daniel Woods, and coming up on WVU News, as the issue of mask mandates rages around America, I'll tell you how one of the biggest debates in the country is coming right here into West Virginia Public Schools.
I'm Allie McDaniel, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you why many Americans have turned to the arts during the pandemic.
As Omicron cases are starting to decline by 20% every week, that doesn't mean ditch the mask. I'm Jessica Riley, and straight ahead, I'll tell you why safety protocols are as important as ever. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts now.
Omicron cases have dropped by 60%, but experts say that declining numbers doesn't mean letting our guard down. I'm Daniel Woods.
And I'm Allie McDaniel. And a debate heats up on a bill that would remove mask mandates in West Virginia schools.
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
Doctors say that Omicron accounts for about 82% of the new COVID cases in our state. But as Omicron cases decline, Daniel, should Americans drop their safety measures like masks and social distancing?
Jessica Riley joins us now from Studio B at the Reed College Media Innovation Center with her segment, Storytelling with Data. To tell us more, Jessica?
Daniel, Allie, the CDC reports that the future of the pandemic is still uncertain, and more than 2,000 people every day are dying in America because of COVID-19. And to date, nearly 6,000 people have died in West Virginia alone, with almost 500,000 infected with the virus right here in the Mountain State. And experts say those numbers tell us we are not in the clear just yet.
As the rapid wave starts to decline, there's more worry the public will let their guard down. I spoke to Dr. Clay Marsh, who is the head of West Virginia's COVID task force, as he expresses his concern of why we still need to follow these protocols.
We should not drop our guard. Young people can get hurt badly by this virus just like older people, and the best way to protect yourself is to get vaccinated and to get boosted, be up to date with your vaccines, and if you do that, then we will start to see this pandemic, become epidemic, I think, but it requires all of us to work together to make that happen.
Omicron is one of about 10 known COVID-19 variants, and it is the fastest spreading variant, allowing it to enter someone's system so quickly they might test positive before symptoms arrive.
According to the CDC, the national proportion of Omicron is predicted at 99.9% compared to the previous Delta variant at 0.01%. Omicron multiplies 70 times faster than the Delta variant, and although symptoms are not as harsh as previous variants, they range depending on many factors, and there is a chance of having major symptoms. I spoke to Emily Stolley, and she tells me about her experience with Omicron.
For me, I was getting progressively worse throughout the week, where I started feeling really nauseous. I felt like I was having body aches and pins and needles all over my body, and I was going from extreme hot to extreme cold.
Over 77 million cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the U.S., and over 900,000 people have passed away due to the pandemic.
West Virginia Governor Jim Justice held a press conference recently to announce another variant of Omicron has arrived in the state. It's too early to tell if this strain can reinfect you if you have had COVID. But one thing state officials can agree on, getting vaccinated and boosted is your greatest protection against serious complications from the virus. About 56% of West Virginians are fully vaccinated, but only 24% have been boosted. Allie, Daniel, back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Jessica. Well, the current 7-day average of new COVID-19 cases has dropped by almost 43%. These decreasing numbers have West Virginia lawmakers considering a new bill.
That's right, Allie. House Bill 4071 would drop mask mandates in public schools. It's being called the Parents and Students Health Rights Act. But how do local officials feel about this proposed bill?
As mask mandates are rolled back around the country, House Bill 4071, currently up in the West Virginia House of Delegates, would take masking decisions away from county school boards and put them in the hands of parents. For Monongalia County Board of Education President Nancy Walker, that's a step in the wrong direction when it comes to student safety.
when you have to look at 12,000 students as a whole, it changes everything. And sometimes when we have those discussions with people, we say, well, what if it was your child that got COVID from a school exposure and your child who had irrevocable health consequences from it?
House Bill 4071 would take away the ability for county school boards to mandate masks in their schools. Monongalia County is one of 35 counties in West Virginia that mandate masks. North Elementary School Principal Natalie Webb has seen firsthand how masking can help keep kids in school throughout the pandemic.
The positive thing about the masks is that it has allowed us to keep kids in school. Because it's considered part of the universal precautions, students who've been had good mask hygiene, what we call it, have been allowed to still be in school and not go on quarantine if there is a positive case in their class.
House Bill 4071 awaits approval from the Judiciary Committee before a vote of the full House.
The bill passed the House Education Committee 18-6 and is now being reviewed in the Judiciary Committee.
Well, Daniel, research shows one positive outcome that came out of the pandemic was that over 50% of Americans picked up a new hobby.
That's interesting, Allie. Did you do anything new through the COVID-19 lockdown?
Well, I did pick up a few crafting projects. In fact, did you know crafting was one of the most popular activities during the height of the pandemic? And now, as restrictions are being lifted, I recently went to a painting party where some residents could relax, paint, and have a cocktail. It's been 2 years since the pandemic, and people are finally coming together again at painting parties to share their love for the arts right here in Morgantown. Attendee Sabrina Dahlia has always enjoyed painting, but used it as a way to connect with her friends during the lockdown.
We would kind of get together to have hangouts to sort of like bring us together in the midst of all the chaos through art, and we would get like a big canvas and all add to it, and it was a really good way to connect.
Like Sabrina, art teacher Angelina Jegede also uses painting as an outlet.
Love it. Love being in front of people, love helping people, and I love painting. Painting is just my connection to people, honestly. Being back in person is amazing to me because that's what I've missed this whole time, and it was mentally exhausting just being on a camera and trying to connect with people where you really can't connect.
Sabrina and Angelina aren't the only ones who turned to art for comfort during the pandemic. Research shows a 70% increase in art supply sales over the last 2 years. For Shay Parando, it's more than just paint on a canvas. The painting she's creating is symbolic. It's for her fiance, Johan, who she will marry this May.
A lot of the time we were together in the beginning was at night, so like moons have kind of always been important to us. He actually proposed at night under a full moon, and our first son together was born under a full moon. So I thought, what better commemorance for the wedding that's in May than to paint this?
With the stroke of a brush, these painting parties are one indication that we could finally be getting back to normal. Sip and Dip traveling paint parties are every Wednesday night at the University Town Center BW3 in Morgantown. To get your tickets, visit the address at the bottom of the screen.
Gardening was another hobby people picked up during the pandemic.
Carly Burkhouse joins us now in the studio with more. Carly?
Thanks, Allie. Daniel, Zoom cocktail hours and more home cooking may be trends from the pandemic that won't stick. But one trend that looks like it's here to stay is gardening, and a statewide program called Grow This is proof of that. WVU Extension launched this program in 2018 with a few hundred participants. That number is now around 25,000 and growing. Experts say that 1 in 7 West Virginia residents face hunger. This means that individuals battle with food insecurity and do not know where their next meal is coming from. Experts say that this is a problem that has gotten increasingly worse throughout the pandemic. However, Grow This is working to fight against that food insecurity. Grow This is a West Virginia garden challenge that provides free seeds to anyone in West Virginia who fills out a short survey. Gardening is a promising way to improve food insecurity within communities because it allows individuals to have healthy food options right in their backyard. WVU Extension Specialist Kristen McCartney explained that the program was developed to achieve a much larger goal than just delivering seeds to community members.
That's really what Grow This was born out of, was a group of kind of grassroots stakeholders that were interested in improving health, nutrition, and mental health and food access.
Whether you are a first-time gardener or a full-time farmer, you are encouraged to register. Gardening can seem intimidating for many first-timers, but a participant in the Grow This challenge, Beth Skidmore, mentioned that Grow This shares information with its participants to make it less frightening.
When they sent the seeds out this time, they didn't just send you seeds and that was it. They sent a brochure and it explained with the three sisters, it explained about the three sisters. It told you exactly how you needed to plant them, what needed to be planted like together and spaced apart and everything. So it gave you a lot of really good information.
You can learn more about the Grow This program and how you could receive your own free seeds in the mail by searching Grow This WVU. In addition to free seeds, participants also receive a weekly email newsletter and the opportunity to connect with gardening experts on their Facebook page. This program has been so successful that it has been replicated by other universities.
Thanks, Carly. With spring just around the corner, it's the perfect time to grow your own garden.
Yes, it is. Coming up after the break, sports reporter Andrew Nogowski takes us on the ice. He gives us an inside look into WVU's very own hockey team and their successful season. Much more on this story when we return after the break. The hockey team season is in full swing.
Sophia Pisano is here with sports to tell us more. Sophia?
Thanks, Allie. With 18 Division I sports, club teams are often overshadowed. But this year, the WVU hockey team has been hitting the ice hard to prove they aren't just a club sport to be overlooked or underestimated. Our own sports reporter, Andrew Nogowski, spent some time on the ice with the team. He has this report about their winning streak and the leadership that it takes to keep them at the top of their game.
The WVU hockey season is in full force this year, with the team clinching the last playoff spot in their conference. Their last game of the regular season was played February 12th and 13th in Charleston against Alabama. Shane Buckley is the head coach of the men's Division I team, and his goal is to build a program the university can be proud of.
We tell guys that when they're coming here, they're making a commitment for 4 years, but those 4 years are going to lead to, a ripple effect down the road as well. So we want to make sure that it's as positive of an experience as it can be.
Senior captain Wyatt Murphy has helped lead the team for 3 years, and he says the key to leadership is to practice what you preach.
So obviously a lot of leadership stuff, and doing ROTC and other Air Force stuff, I've learned leadership stuff there as well. But obviously hockey is a little different. It's a team sport, and it's one of those things where it's, the best way to get good leadership skills is to actually practice them.
Coach Buckley says that a lot of their efforts go into recruiting prospective players, as they are the only college hockey team in West Virginia.
We do our job in terms of recruiting high school student athletes, recruiting student athletes coming from junior hockey, also prep schools, AAA. So we do a lot of recruiting.
Even though the season is winding down and playoffs are around the corner, you can still catch Wyatt Murphy and the rest of the WVU hockey teams via their live streams. Make sure to follow all 4 teams on Twitter for playoff scheduling. Andrew Nogowski, WVU Sports, Morgantown.
Shane Buckley has been the head coach for the WVU hockey team for almost 3 years. Before coming to WVU, Buckley coached at 2 high schools and played 4 years of hockey in college.
Thanks, Sophia, and congrats to the hockey team on its winning season. Well, that's it for this week's edition of WVU News. I'm Daniel Woods.
And I'm Allie McDaniel. You can visit us online or on our website, or you can also watch our shows on YouTube. And please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.